anybody would like to come and speak to the council, we ask you to come up to the microphone, tell us your name and address, and that will be fun. We do public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and then near the end of the meeting as well.
Hello. I'm Mark Frost, a resident of Glens Falls and a business in Glens Falls. And I'm here to talk to you about the FW Web project that Queensbury is ramming through that is going to do great damage to the neighborhood of Windy Ridge and Windy Hill, and I think the wetlands that are nearby, create a traffic hazard going on Quaker Road, and there has not been a study done on the real impact that this is going to have. They just kind of green-lighted it, did no assessment of the real risk. I hope the city of Glens Falls will stand up for the city, for the residents of the city. There's a meeting next Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday?
July 10th.
July 10th. The town of Queensbury, this property cannot handle, is not allowed to have this use. So they need to get a change from commercial to industrial to enable this to happen. And we think that needs to be seriously thought about and to be conscious that there are state and federal wetlands adjacent to this. The city has already purchased the Glens Falls Tennis and Swim Club with an eye toward creating a park, an environmental preserve, and this is so antithetical to that. And personally, we dread that we're going to start at 6 a.m. every morning during the beep. I think it's like 15 tractor trailer loading docks as the trucks back into the thing. It's insane. And I think the city of Glens Falls really needs to step up here and at the very least demand that there be serious environmental and other consequence deliberations of this. Thank you.
Thank you. I know, Councilman Lander wanted to talk about this under new business. And so, yes. Sorry. No,
Kitchen and Bar here in downtown Glens Falls. I am also on the board of the Glens Falls Collaborative, chairing Take a Bite this year. I believe it is on the agenda, but we are asking to open or lift the open container law. I just wanted to give you a little information about that. You know, Take a Bite is running every Wednesday from July 5th until August 9th. We are hoping to have vendors who are outside of Glen Street and Bridge Street selling their products in the city park. And we do plan to have volunteers stationed on all of the corners to keep an eye on things and maintain, you know, making sure everybody is following the rules. I think it went quite well during Wingfest. We're just kind of hoping for the same thing throughout the summer.
just no rain.
Just no rain. But we will be here for the vote, so if you have any questions, we're available. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to join the common council or address the common council? If not, we'll close public comment and we'll go to department head. I've asked Amy Collins and Yvonne to come up and talk to us a little bit, give us an update on the recreation. The rec programs are just kicking off their summer season, and I thought it would be a great time to give the update.
Well, we were going to bring all of our sporting equipment, but we decided to spare you all. Thank you, and we're going to be talking about recreation today. Yesterday we started the kids camp. We have 76 to 11-year-old campers that were very excited to show up yesterday. Of those 70, we have 17 scholarship kids that we help. So just to talk a little bit about the camp and the seasonal staff that we hired, we have 11 camp counselors plus 1 part-time, 10 full-time lifeguards, 4 part-time and 9 recreation attendants, 1 field supervisor. We provide necessary orientation, mandatory human resource training. We actually were pretty fortunate with our staffing this year. You know, unfortunately, we needed more supervisors to run 2 camps. We usually try to run one at Eastfield and one at Crandall. Now, the Eastfield camp hasn't run since before the pandemic. So, you know, we're really working to get those 2 camps up. But this year we could not do that. We rose, you know, we brought the numbers up because we have to stick to that ratio as well. And we have to have those supervisors available at that secondary location. We also, you know, as I said, we went to 3 job fairs. Yvonne and I are quite a team. We went to Lake George High School, we went to Queensbury High School, we went to Glens Falls. And we utilized the Warren County Workforce Development as well. They were very helpful. And even having a communications director, Tim Drawbridge, was able to advertise many of our positions, and you know, that was really helpful.
As much as we didn't get all of that we wanted,
Right.
we got more than several
We did.
other communities.
Right, and if you've heard recently, there are neighboring communities that had trouble finding lifeguards. You know, Village of South Glens Falls only had 3, so we feel pretty fortunate. So.
That's a lot. That's great.
Yeah, and you know, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about Yvonne because I, you know, we're good for each other. She doesn't, you know, she was a little out of her comfort zone with the job fairs, but she did a marvelous job. You know, I help her, and she certainly helps me. But yeah, so thank you.
We all need all the help we can get.
Yeah, absolutely. So we also participate in the Warren County Youth Employment Program, which helps us staff some of our rec attendants. So we have 2 Warren County youth staff working with us this year, and you know, that's a wonderful thing because Warren County picks up their salaries, and so they work along with Miss Mary, who's our field supervisor. So
That's
another
an
thing,
experience right there.
yeah, it is. So another thing that started yesterday were swim lessons. Now, swimming, as far as we're concerned, is a life skill. We really want to offer that to as many people as we can, and kids, adult, you know, anybody. We had 18 sign up for the first session. We have 3 sessions, so we're going to crank out the numbers this year. We have, you know, and a lot of our lifeguards, you have to have certain certification to teach as well. So you have to, you know, we've got 9, but we have them all over. As you know, Heaven's Cove is reopened. Someone called up, wanted to know where Heaven's Cove was. Now that I kind of like, you know, Heaven's Cove. So we've got the swim area open, and that's awesome. So again, this year we worked with the Warren County Youth Bureau, and we got some free rentals for big games. You know, they come and have a big chessboard, or have a big slip and slide, or a big ping pong. You know, they come and they for free, they drop off the games, and the campers get to use them. So we also were able to get some grant funding through them. We got 20 easels. We hired a instructor to do a little arts and crafts, and then we have pickleball equipment, which you know how I feel about pickleball. So we're going to have pickleball instruction for all the campers. Plus, they'll teach the counselors how to play, and so when the lessons are over, the pickleball will continue for the session, for the camp session.
Yeah.
And even Yvonne's thinking about taking pickleball.
Trying to get a court.
Yeah.
Trying to get it going.
I know.
Put the new courts in though.
Right.
Yeah.
So last year, we also wanted to upgrade some of our equipment in our playgrounds. Really needed. Last year, we purchased 4 Mommy and Me swings for special needs kids. So we'll be putting up those. We're working with the DPW to get those installed. We also have some great new shade, some umbrellas for picnic tables, shade slides. We've got, places where at Haviland's, at Eastfield, you can get out. Eastfield, the sun just beats on it. So we've kind of tried to beautify both of those, those swim areas. Let's see. Okay, here we get to the online, or the, not the online. We're hoping for online pavilion reservations someday. We want to do that because today
Amen.
we have
Yeah.
75 reservations today.
Wow.
And, you know, this is another kudo to Yvonne. We really want to automate that, and that'll take a lot of time, you know, and just get that to the place where we want it. You know, other important things, the softball league, we're still working on.
Is it going? Is it starting?
Still, yeah, co-ed and the men's league. We have disc golf and pickleball clinics coming up. So please, any of you that haven't been out there, I expect to see you all out there, okay? Even, you know.
You know.
You
Yeah.
mentioned pickleball and disc golf. How about regular golf? Are we doing
Well,
that?
yes, we'll be having, Sunnyside, we have some lessons for our campers, also just community lessons. So we were working with Pat Turley out there at the Sunnyside. We have a Fit in the City at the band shell on Mondays, which is free, open to the public. Run by, you know, sponsored by Highmark, our provider. We have the Team Fredette youth basketball groups playing in Crandall, 6 to 9 on Mondays. Certainly, you've heard about the ARPA funding to our rec areas. We want to continue that. Eastfield was just lined. It's open for business. It's great. We look forward to Murray Street, Montcalm, and Sagamore. And certainly the Eastfield Stadium's undergoing some things with some capital improvements. But, you know, we have some other things going on, but those are really the concentrations. You're going to have a couple of presentations in the next Common Council meetings, but I just, you know, we're really trying to put our programming back into our department, trying to build up the department. We're only 2. You know, I talk to the town of Queensbury a lot, and, you know, when I say they have 9 or 10 or 11 employees, just, you know, plus, you know, someday, you know, we'll look at all the options, but I think, you know, we've really done well with what we have. And I know the mayor's looking at, you know, many ideas about how we can invest and maybe, you know, earn money for our rec department, you know, and then put it back out there for our kids. And even adults, you know, adults learn to swim. We have a lot of call for that too. So if you have any questions, Yvonne would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
You should address it to the public.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yvonne told me not to. Congratulations to you. I mean, this is, it's wonderful that we have the offering that we have. We need to get that word out. We need to, you know, what you just said needs to go to Tim Drawbridge, who turns it into a document that tells everybody in the city of Glens Falls through whatever media that they tie into, this is what we have to offer. Because, and I should know, and I know some of it, I'm impressed by what you just said. So I hope we can get that word out, that this is what you get when you live in the city of Glens Falls.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm really happy with for all the parks touch on all of the wards of the city, and there's some things for Ward 4, Montcalm Park is going to finally have a sidewalk that goes all the way around it, and it's going to connect in through Orville Street so that it won't be, you know, discontinuous. And there's a lot of people that do pickups and drop-offs there to the school, so I think that's going to be, you know, a safer place. And, you know, just redoing all the courts and all the parks is just one of the things that we're hoping to do is to make sure not only do we have this investment in our parks, but also that we have some monitoring going on so that we don't have incidents of vandalism or, you know, destruction of equipment at the various parks. So we're working on that in the technology committee. So I just wanted you to know if you were worried about that, you know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a concern as we improve our parks. And, you know, I also wanted to, you know, we've done some great things with public money. Also, that private-public partnership is really important. So, organizations like the Crandall Park Beautification Committee, the Friends of Coles Woods, hopefully we can work with the Friends of Eastfield to really get that developed. People like Tom and Sally Hoy, they've been really generous to our rec department or our rec areas and have donated private money to start certain programs. So, I think people are watching Glens Falls. They see what we're, with that public money that the mayor has designated to investing in our rec areas. That's such a wonderful thing. We'll parlay that into other things hopefully. So thank you, Mayor.
And thank both of you, Yvonne, the unsung hero of the rec department. So I just, I want to make sure that we take this moment and thank you for all your work. It was you and I that were here late while you were doing your trainings, and so you finally got to see you in the evening. So just look, thank you both for your tireless efforts. The programs that we have, for a long time we faced financial cutbacks. The entire department has been cut to ribbons, and still we have 2 swimming locations open. We're offering swimming lessons. We're offering softball and allowing people to do the work we've done at Crandall Park, and now the investment in the courts. Next, we need to talk about dog parks, and we need to talk about investing in Haviland's Cove, and the connector trail that leads us down to Prime's Island, right? It's all pieces of a puzzle, and it wouldn't be as successful without you guys, and make sure those kids are still helping us today. And that's where the shoestring is overstating the budget that you have. So thank you. All right.
Thank you. Yvonne, don't you want to say something?
That's great. Next time we need to not invite Yvonne because she just talks way too much. That's great. So thank you. And then now we'll move to committee reports. Councilman Clark.
No report.
Councilman Landry.
The Labor and Personnel Committee met on the 20th of June and opened our discussions with the city police union for the upcoming contract. We discussed the rules and negotiations, which is important to have because you never know where you're going to go. And we've established a schedule for 3 more meetings in July. The union made a presentation to the city as to what they think a fair contract would look like. The city made a presentation to the union as to what we think that one is. In all negotiations, we're definitely not together yet, but I think that there's a lot of room for discussion, and I think when we get all said and done, we'll have a fair contract that pleases the union and satisfies the needs of the citizens. So we'll be meeting again, like I say, 3 times in July.
Thank you. Councilman Lapham, committee reports.
Just to say that we'll have a technology committee meeting on July 5th at 11 a.m. One of the things we're talking about is an online reservation system, but Amy's left the room. And then same day, but at 7 p.m., Climate Smart Communities Task Force will be meeting in CPR.
Thank you. And the reason, just to clarify that, the reason that we don't have the standalone right now online for those pavilions is that we don't want to pay to have one set of online systems and registrations and not all of it. We want to get the whole packet so that it won't get hit time and time again with add-ons. We want to do one complete packet. And, I knew you knew that, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew it, that it's not that we were slow to act. It's just don't pay $10,000 to have one part of the system be automated when we all need it to improve. So, and we're doing great work with our sustainability committee, or excuse me, our technology committee, and looking at our needs like our parks and the safety, and so it's great work. Thank you, Councilman Lapham. And Councilman Good, committee reports.
Special projects, we met last week, and we are continuing to work on We had, some very good discussion at our last special projects meeting that really was enlightening. So we are continuing to chop away, and I think we're making good progress. Work in progress, but I think we're making good progress. So we're gonna, of course, our next meeting would be the 4th of July, and we're not gonna meet the 4th of July, of course. So our next meeting will be on the 18th at 2.
Thank you. So, that is committee reports. There is one item on our voice vote. Is there anybody who'd like to pull that resolution? Not hearing anybody. Resolution 1 is a resolution to approve the minutes of the June 13th, 2023 meeting of the Glens Falls Common Council.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Under roll call vote, are there any items that the council would like to pull for discussion? Not hearing anybody. Number 2 is a resolution to approve the suspension of the city's open container law with the parameter of Ridge, Glen, and Maple Streets between Bay and Ridge during the Glens Falls Collaborative's Take-A-Bite events held on Wednesdays, July 5th through July 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th, and on August 2nd and 9th, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on those days. The collaborative will have volunteers in place to ensure that no alcoholic beverages are taken beyond these points. 3 is a resolution to increase revenue line A009999-1589A, miscellaneous public safety income by $3,154.58, and to increase budget line A23120-1100, police department overtime by $3,154.58 as attached. 4 is a resolution to approve City of Glens Falls Community Development manual payments in the amount of $5,207.07. 5 is a resolution to award the lowest bidder of CGF-23-08 street resurfacing to Peckham Road Court, Hudson Falls, New York, 12839 for the bid price of $753,595.68 based on the streets and estimates provided by the city and in the bid specification. Also to move ahead with bid alternate number 1, Shermantown Road, to be paid for by using the street opening permit fees from Ames Goldsmith for a total of $22,827.15. 6 is a resolution to approve the mayor's appointment of Mark Toomey, 42 Ridge Street, to become the chief financial officer of the Glens Falls Urban Renewal Agency. 7 is a resolution to increase the revenue line A009999-4089 General Fund Government Aid ARPA by $713,395, an increase in add budget line A67020-4467 Recreation Administration Construction for payment on bid CGF-23-04 for the athletic court reconstruction on Montcalm Street, Murray Street, Sagamore Street playgrounds as attached. 8 is a resolution to decrease budget line A11990-9000 contingency other funds by $1,564 and increase budget line A67020-2500 recreation other equipment by $1,564 to purchase an emergency AED for the Crandall Park Fieldhouse. This cost will be reimbursed by Warren County Fund to share the City Recreation Department. 9 is a resolution to decrease budget line A11990-9000 contingency other funds by $3,255 and increase budget line A67140-2500 recreation main DPW other equipment by $3,225 to purchase a same as existing replacement pump motor for the Eastfield Pond. This cost will be reimbursed by the Warren County Fund to share the City Recreation Department. 10 is a resolution to approve an encroachment permit for Spot Coffee, Glen LLC, 221 Glen Street, Glens Falls, for an advisory opinion from the planning board, following a June 6th advisory opinion from the planning board, that the council should look with favor on the application for the placement of tables and chairs in front of the business from June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024 in compliance with borough regulations for public access on the sidewalk as shown in the approved layout. 11 is a resolution to approve the mobile food unit license application renewal for Michelle Arnold, DBA Michelle's Lemonade, 69 Belvedere Avenue, Albany, New York, for 1 week license to vend Crandall Park for the July 4th celebration on July 3rd, 2023. 12 is a resolution to approve the encroachment permit for Radici Kitchen and Bar, 26 Ridge Street, Glens Falls, following a June 6, 2023 advisory opinion from the planning board that the council should look with favor upon the application for the placement of tables and chairs in front of the business from June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024 in compliance with PRO-AG regulations for public access on the sidewalk as shown in the approved layout. 13 is a resolution to approve the mobile food unit license application for renewal of Tim Shin, DBA Creative Caterers, 314 Loudon Oaks, Saratoga Springs, to vend at Crandall Park on July 25th, 2023 for the Folk Life Center Festival. 14 is a resolution to approve an encroachment permit for James A. Capitanio, 24 Kensington Road, Glens Falls, New York, to dig an 8-inch wide by 16-inch deep trench to run PVC pipe sleeve for a sprinkler system for 24 Kensington Road from July 1st through July 4th, 2023, with safeguards for pedestrian access on the sidewalk per PRO-AG regulations, and to replace the sidewalks with full panels, not just the limits of the trenching, per the city engineer's standard conditions. 15 is a resolution to approve an encroachment permit for HHHN 161 Cary Road, Queensbury, to place a table on the sidewalk in front of Crandall Library on July 27, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the annual National HIV Testing Day, in compliance with PRO-AG regulations for pedestrians' access on the sidewalks. 15 is a resolution to retroactively approve an encroachment permit as approved by Mayor Collins on June 1st, 2023 for the Charles R. Wood Theater, 207 Glen Street, Glens Falls, to block off 4 parking spaces in front of the building for placement of a lift to complete the repair work for signage in the front of the building from June 20th, 2023 through June 23rd, 2023, with the understanding that the area is to be cordoned off to allow pedestrian access on the sidewalk per PRO-AG regulations. 17 is a resolution to approve the warrant. Do we have a motion for a roll call vote?
So moved.
We have a second. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman
Yes.
and Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's see, we'll go to old business, new business. At the end of the day, I want to go into executive session, not to pass any resolutions, but to discuss some personnel issues. But before we do that, let's just go to old business. Councilman Clark, old business.
Yeah, I want to applaud the mayor and the council for approving our resolution number 2 for open container law, waiving that. One of the things that we talked about a long time ago, both the mayor and I, is doing simple things like these to help enhance an event and to draw more people to it. And knock on wood, it's been very successful the few times we have done it, and I am looking forward to Take a Bite. It's always a good time. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Wingfest was, I went over to Common Roots and lifted a few frosty ones,
Yeah.
and it was really nice. And
Right.
I'm looking forward to having opportunities to
Right.
take a bite.
It just enhances an event, an already great event. So I appreciate that everyone is accepting of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Old business, Councilman Lane.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing, there appears to be some leftover piles of debris from cleanup in the springtime. I know that our open pickup time on the 28th is over with. And I think there's violators who just don't care, and they put it in the street, and I think there's some people who don't pay attention and they don't realize the 28th is the end of it. But my concern is, and I have one in my neighborhood, is some of those piles now are dry and old, and you get a rainstorm and it ends up in our sewers, and we don't need anything else outside our sewers. So if maybe we could get DPW over a period of time to make a swing to the city and pick those up, I think it would be beneficial for everyone.
Thank you. I will ask Tom to take a look. Councilman Landry, if you or any of the other councilmen see any particular piles, and just let me know.
Yeah, I actually had this week a resident, and I looked at the pile, and I believe it's been there since when open pickup was available. But it's also on in the right of way between the sidewalk and the road, so it might have been missed. So I agree. There's you can see a number of these things out there. If we could ask DPW to be able to make another swing for those, that would be really helpful.
Absolutely. Old business, Councilman Lott.
Yes, I just out of the resolution to add the AED equipment, I was wondering if we could just follow up with, I guess, maybe recreation, about who would be getting certified to use it, because that equipment requires certification.
Yeah, all of our rec staff at our camp are the supervisors and the individual councilors.
That's great.
Yeah, good question.
Also,
Great minds think alike.
Also, I don't know if anybody saw in the New York Times today, there was an article about pedestrian safety, and that this year is the worst year since 1981 nationwide for pedestrian mortality. I'd say for Glens Falls this year, we've enacted a complete streets policy and an ADA transition plan, and had a discussion with the mayor and the councilor at large and other council members about possibly getting our advisory board filled out soon so that we can address some of these things. So we have Webster Avenue connection project to the Warren County Bike Trail. We have a connection project down Murray Street Hill to where we're building in more bike infrastructure. We want to, part of the complete streets policy is that when we're doing resurfacing, that we're looking at pedestrian and micromobility access and transit access at the same time, so that we're not just focusing solely on motor vehicles and motor vehicle traffic and those concerns. And also, I'd like to applaud Councilman at Large Clark for speaking up for different things that we could have for traffic calming measures. And this would be a group that would be able to advocate for this within the city government. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Goodman, old business. No? So to take a little bit of the coattails of Councilman Lapham, I want to, we just got this from our engineer, and send those to them. This is, I'm going to, I want to, I'm not asking for a resolution. I wanted to let you know that, that we had a study done for this intersection of Glen Street and Grant and Sanford. One of the recommendations is a longer term recommendation to change the lights and to invest in new lights for this. Is what the best option is to change our light system here, but that's an expensive option. Meanwhile, we had this area on our current this year's paving list. So our engineer asked the company that did Barton Lejudas, who did this study for us, to make recommendations from their recommendations, or to make a quick drawing of how to redo the sidewalks so that they're all ADA accessible, and to add repave the crossing things that you see here highlighted. And I'm going to send this document, so they want permission to go ahead and do this right away, because our work crews that are doing the cement are in the area. So I'm going to ask them to go ahead and do this. I wanted you to see this, and then I was going to send this to the Board of Public Safety. Yes, sir.
When you, I just had a question.
Sure, okay. So, they're doing sidewalk work in the area. We've asked the company that did the assessment, what sidewalk work, would they not only recommend, but to do a quick diagram so we could give it to our cement company. And then add another crosswalk, which our DPW will do. And meanwhile, there was the one thing I wanted to let you know, that this green space that was down Grant Avenue, the contractor had suggested that right now is all cement, and that we put in some green space there. But Councilwoman Palmer, the owner of this corner, it's a barber shop, and they have requested we not do that we leave or replace the cement sidewalk, because they think that Councilwoman Palmer's thoughts were, as kids gather on this corner, there could be more space for them. But again, it's been a big request for the property owner that we just replace this and not follow the green space. And so that's what we were going to do, because both Councilwoman Palmer and the owner have asked us to do that. Other than that, we are still working on the long-term solution to this. The best solution is to redo those lights, and I'll be bringing you information as we take action on the rest of this study and its suggested plans of actions. And that's what I wanted you to be aware of, that I was going to send this to the Board of Public Safety and make sure they don't have a meeting until like the middle of July, and I didn't want to hold this up. So Councilwoman Lapham or anybody else, questions?
One of the questions I have is the way that this is laid out as a rhombus shape means there's more time of people crossing in the street. It's more distance. And I remember when we had the crossing guard, one of the public safety meetings, he'd asked if those could be more straightened at those, intersections. So this is kind of what I'm saying.
Yep. Right, more square.
Yeah.
I can ask the company to look. Their thinking is that this is actually the crossing guard had suggested that we go from the corner from the barber shop over to this part of Sanford, and that actually goes against both ProWag and the other recommendations. And the company that their expertise in this was this suggestion. But let me, I'll tell you what, I'll right away reach out to them and ask them if they would consider a more square, and if that would make it safer, and if they agree engineeringly wise, because that's their expertise. That's great. It's a great question. Okay.
And the one other thing is, I don't see any spot where it's saying how wide the sidewalks will be through there. I was just curious what that is. Does it say 4 foot?
Where you see. So.
No, I think that's the green space.
Yeah, that's the green space. It's actually about 15 feet of sidewalk, and not counting. So if they take the green, their suggestion was to take and add the green space, but we're not doing that. So it's going to be about 14 feet
on it how wide the sidewalk itself is going to be.
Yeah.
So we can get that as well.
Sure, I can have. So do me a favor. Can I switch with you and get me that?
I'm just going to make a mark.
Sure, you can make the mark. That's great. Any other questions? Just wanted you to know that I was moving forward on it so that the cement work could be done more expediently. I will make sure that the Board of Public Safety reviews as well, and I'll share Councilman Lapham's questions and suggestions with them as well, and get the engineers to weigh in.
Mayor, did they indicate any, what the type of expense was for the lighting?
Yeah, well, the problem is that our lights in general and throughout the city are really, really, really old. And so therefore, it's like we have a storage room, literally probably over 20 feet by 20 feet. It's all old guts of old lights, and that's what we do. So that's why this is not being done immediately because there's a company that they've referred us to that does them in the area, and they're very expensive. So we had a goal. Tom Gerard had asked us to approve a budget, which was to replace, say, 5 lights a year for a number of years. The cost of this might literally make it 1 light a year, but we're going to start with this one, and we're going to engage in the company and see and share our long-term goal. Maybe we can get those prices down. And that is what we were really working on. What you see here is our engineer saying, hey, we're doing this sidewalk work on our list. Let's do this right away. It doesn't solve all the problem, but it addresses it and makes it a nicer thing. And so he asked the company that did the study to draw this out for us so then he could share it with the cement people. And so I'm sure there's actually better diagrams showing all the width of the sidewalks. But I will get that for you guys so you have it. Okay? That is all I had for old business. New business, Councilman Clark.
I have none.
Great. New business, Councilman Landry.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have some new business, and I want to acknowledge Mark Frost, who was here earlier, who discussed the situation over in Windy Hill, Windy Ridge, East Sanford Street area, and proposed development in the town of Queensbury that abuts the city boundary line and many of the homes out there. Let me give you a little background information. I think that what's going on out there is more than just, a NIMBY situation. I don't want it in my backyard. The development on Quaker Road that's being proposed in the town of Queensbury could have some very catastrophic impacts to, one of the neighborhoods in our community that provides a lot of our tax base. Those people pay a lot of tax dollars out there. Possibly subject some of our infrastructure in the neighborhoods, especially in the Windy Hill area where we're trying to pump up to the sewer line on Sanford Street. But here's what's happening out there. Located immediately behind the Windy Hill and Windy Ridge neighborhoods, FW Webb, a plumbing wholesale provider here in the area, is interested in purchasing a piece of land to house a regional distribution center. The facility is being located in a commercial zone that the Queensbury Town Board is interested in rezoning just for the FW Webb project. I got into this a little late, so I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can. This is a project that belongs in one of our industrial parks. That's what we have them for. That's why we spent a lot of county tax dollars to make parcels shovel-ready out in the Warren County Industrial Park. We've got our own industrial park up at Veterans, although this may not be a perfect fit because there's a small retail component to this operation, so it's going to be a huge regional distribution center, but they're also going to have a small part of it that will be retail so that local plumbing and heating companies can go there and buy a product. If this happens, the residents in these city neighborhoods out in the east end of the city are definitely going to see their properties devalued. Their water tables are going to rise. And that's not only a problem for them, I think it's a problem for the city because of our infrastructure down there right now that's, pretty precariously located underground and may be subject to problems due to rising water tables. It's also adjacent to property that is owned by the city, the Glens Falls Swim and Tennis Club. And, that project has got a good group of people who are interested in possibly doing a large-scale project out there, or at least a small-scale project with a long-term goal. And this could be affected by it greatly. The water on the land that we own at the Glens Falls Swim and Tennis Club could be underwater. Potential that we own a piece of property that couldn't be used for anything. One of the things that concerned me a lot when I met with the officials from the town of Queensbury, town board members and the town supervisor, and the people from the FW Webb, is that when they discussed the stormwater management for this piece of property, and I asked if they were using dry wells and they were going to let it percolate into the ground. And this is an elevated piece of property, but it's totally surrounded by wetlands. I was told no, they weren't putting dry wells in. They're actually going to put a stormwater management system in, and then pipe that stormwater runoff to a retention pond that would actually be located right behind Haley Gilgan's house out at the end of Windy Hill, within probably 150 feet of her backyard. It probably would raise the water level out behind the Jackson Heights School. So it could have some pretty major impacts if we did that. As far as traffic goes, and remember, this thing is about to go to the town board. The Queensbury Planning Board has already passed this, approved this project. And the residents of Windy Hill and Windy Ridge that attended those meetings couldn't believe that when they went through the secret process and discussed this, they never discussed traffic implications that there are, or the fact that that's all wetland out there. And the traffic side of it is this: where this property is located, if you were to go on Quaker Road east from Ridge Road, so when you come out of the intersection of Ridge and Quaker and head east, it's 2 lanes that goes down to 1. I drive that area a lot because I live in that area. And I can tell you right now, it's like a raceway, because it goes from 2 lanes to 1. Everybody's trying to see if you can get the lead position to get into the 1, and then when you get into the 1, you're right on that curve. And I can't imagine, as this thing moves forward, that the town would ever be able to approve any entrance to that property and allow tractor trailers to come out of it and turn left on Quaker Road and head towards the Northway, because of the danger of doing that. In fact, in a discussion with Ben tonight, Garvey Volkswagen doesn't even have the tractor trailers with their cars that they're bringing in. They park on Quaker Road because they don't want to go in on the property, because they got to come back out on it. So if they say that they said, okay, you know, we approve this change and we're going to rezone this and we're going to let them build it, and then FW Webb finds that, well, you know what, we're not going to be able to make that left-hand turn, we're going to make a right-hand, have to allow only a right-hand turn. That's going to put tractor trailers potentially on Sanford Street to go down Quaker Road, turn onto Sanford, go out to Ridge, turn onto Ridge, go north on Ridge to get back to Quaker Road. We've already had discussions with this body about tractor trailers and truck traffic in the city, and this just invites more of it. Mark Frost mentioned tonight there's actually 5 loading docks, spaces that are going to be on the back side of this building, very close to where the residents live over there. And then tractor trailers are going to come in, and as Mark said, back up, and they're going to beef and so on and so forth. So the traffic side of this doesn't make a lot of sense. But I really got a feel in discussing this with the supervisor and council people that were at a meeting that we had on this property last week. I really got the feeling that this was a done deal. And the only reason that I'm talking about it tonight is because it was supposed to be discussed at the last town board meeting in the town of Queensbury, and we were able to stop that because all of those residents in the Windy Hill and Windy Ridge area were never sent notice that this was going before the town board. So they delayed it, and they're going to meet again on the 10th of July to discuss the matter and, you know, I think try to approve it. So I'm very concerned about that. So there's traffic issues, there's environmental issues. It's a neighborhood crushing disaster waiting to happen to Windy Hill, and I don't think that we can idly stand by and allow that to happen. I feel, and I apologize for not trying to get this on the agenda, that it would be beneficial to the city and to the residents of East Sanford Street and Windy Hill and Windy Ridge for us to pass a resolution with review and assistance from our attorneys so that we position ourselves correctly, so we're just making our voice heard have gathered together, and there's about 28 of them out there right now, that I would be willing to take that resolution and just present it to the Queensbury Town Board at their meeting on the 10th, the night that they're going to try and approve this, along with a petition that the residents have out there. Because this is a train wreck waiting to happen in an adjoining community. The major impact from it is on the city of Glens Falls. It's not on the residents down in Queensbury at all about this. So I'd just like to discuss that to see if anybody feels we shouldn't do a resolution. Karen, if you think we shouldn't do a resolution, I'd be interested to hear that. But I think that we need to take a very strong position, because if this happens and moves forward, the future of that boundary line between the town of Queensbury and the city of Glens Falls on the east end of our community is in jeopardy. So like I say, I don't want to propose. I don't like it when a resolution comes out like this. I'm only doing this because of the time factor of it. We don't meet again as a body before July 10th. And I can tell you that I hope I've done my due diligence. I've walked this property. I've met with the residents out there, and it scares me.
So what time is it on the 10th?
On the 10th is at 7 o'clock at the Queensbury Senior Citizen Center. That's where the town board has their meetings.
Councilman Landry, do you have a resolution for us to consider?
I don't have a resolution written. But basically what I would like to do is have...
Before you make the resolution, I just want to give anybody else have any questions? I do want to tell you my knowledge of it and share it with you. Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think the resolution would cover safety concerns and environmental concerns, being two things, and then the impact has the impact to our wastewater and our stormwater diversion been looked at, and the impact to residents for flooding, floodplain differences. Has that been has that been considered? And I agree with what you said.
I totally agree. I think this is not a small issue. That this is a big issue. It's something that Glens Falls we definitely need to take a lead on. I think that they are forgotten our citizens over there. They were not a part of this decision, and neither was this council that I know of. And this is something that we definitely need to take lead on. So I'm behind you 100%, and I'll be at that meeting.
So we were notified via the clerk's office, which and it appeared from the notice that the way that was it the zoning board sent it to us before they approved it?
The town board sent notice to us of a possible change in zoning to land that was the city.
There you go.
But I don't, the notice didn't say what the actual project was. The notice says they're looking to change the zoning from one to another. They have to provide us notice so that they can seek input from neighboring properties.
And
So I don't think they're meeting to approve the whole project. I think they're meeting to approve the zoning change.
Well, it's unclear, and that's why, and so Karen and I asked Megan to reach out to Karen and send her the information, and Karen was reading the state law. It looked like they were saying, hey, Glens Falls, this abuts your neighbors in your city, or your community, not ours, right? Like there's some magic line, and that we should be notifying our residents. Karen disagreed and sent notice to the town saying, no, this is your project. The way that we read the state statute says that you need to notify anybody within 500 feet, is it 500 feet of this project? And then I believe we heard nothing more from them. And so then they postponed the meeting to July 10th because I think they realized they truly had not met their burden of notice, I guess. So I think that I agree that our community, residents of Glens Falls that are within 500 feet were not given notice, and therefore I think that it's reasonable. I have it on my calendar. I'm glad that Councilman Landry does. If anybody else would like to attend, I think that would be great. That we say we don't have real notice. We don't know what this plan is. I did see subsequently after this, I have now seen part of the diagrams. It is shocking how close that diagram comes to the backyards of Glens Falls residents. And they clearly haven't had a chance to have input. Now, again, Karen's point here, but we're really not sure, but it seems as though in one aspect, it seems like they've already made the change and they just want the planning board to approve the change they've already made. And how could they make that without looking at the water table, a true seeker environmental impact? This area is on all the old maps, and we happen to know a lot about this area because we were looking at trying to make it a wildlife area, recreational walking area.
And one of the reasons for that was to remediate areas so that there was restoration of wetlands.
Yep.
And that this, for these very reasons.
And all of those residents had reached out to us when we purchased from the town of Queensbury, we purchased the bankrupt
Warren County.
from Warren County. Sorry, we paid the taxes for Warren County, but it's in the town of Queensbury.
Was it, but did we buy from Warren County? Or was it-
Tennessee Shrimp Club?
No,
I don't know, so I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter.
But the point is that those neighbors were really upset with us. We thought they'd be happy, but they believed that, oh my God, are you going to put a bus garage or do anything with this? And when we said no, we actually were accused by a couple residents, and this is before this current council, but just so you're aware, there were residents who didn't believe us. They said, we think you're going to develop this and try to pull a fast one on us. And we said, no. We want to get the pond, and we are in current conversations with the SUNY Adirondack to try to get control of the pond so that we can have this walking area. We've got easements, verbal easements. We haven't got the signed documents yet. We've gotten Bill Brender to say that he would deed us his land so that we could make this an environmental recreation in the way of walking area. So this plan that they didn't tell us about until roughly 10 days ago, they didn't notify the neighbors, so I think we stand all in agreement that this is not a good idea, and mostly, I don't even know about the idea. So I think that, if we were going to do this in the city of Glens Falls, I think we all recognize that notifying all the residents and giving them a chance for public input, and that they'd be asking, what are the implications with the water? It's not an unreasonable ask, especially since the retention pond, they told you, Councilman Landry, would literally be less than 50 yards from somebody's neighbor. So they're creating a great swamp area, possibly, right, in the great swamp, right in the backyard of some residents. I mean, the fact that you haven't had a chance for them to understand that is beyond me. And I also have appreciated my relationship so far with the town of Queensbury and with John Stroud. I've really appreciated the last 18 months. This is not in congruence with working with the community. And so I wish that I'll tell them that at the meeting, that we want to work with them. If they'd come to us a few months ago and told us this, I was told by Councilman Landry a couple days ago that they'd clear cut this property. And you can't see that unless you're on Windy Hill Road or you drive back into the property. As I drive by it, you can see they remove the trees and it goes up a little hill, but that's all you can see. So nobody knows what this is. And no wonder nobody from the town of Queensbury is objecting, because it's not near any town neighborhoods. They literally found the neighborhood.
To give
Backed up to ours.
To give you some idea, they're looking to build a 96,000 square foot warehouse with outside storage. If you're familiar with FW Web down on the boulevard right now, they store a lot of their product outdoors. And this piece of property is as big as, or maybe bigger than East Field. And it's out in that swamp. So it's huge, it's not small. And the impact could be great.
So as much as I worry a little bit about demand, I don't think it's our or my purview to demand the cease, but I think that we need to go and say that we object, and therefore resolution. So now, Karen, can you help us write a resolution? Then somebody can make, Bob, you could make the motion. So,
Karen, I just have a question.
Sure.
I know in some, I'm not familiar with the town process, but in some of our processes, it has to go be reviewed by Warren County planning and somebody is, I'm not.
Well, they would send the same notice to the Warren County Planning Department
And they
to
would
get
have
their
it-
county input.
Okay, all right.
And so we received the notice to get the city of Glens Falls input.
Okay, all right, so.
But as far as I know, it was just for the change in zoning, not the actual
Actual use,
project.
not the actual use of.
But the sale of the property is contingent on the sale or the change of zone.
Okay.
Okay, so
So everyone
FW.
knows what it is.
Right.
But this is, they're not having a meeting on July 10th to approve the
The project.
FW Web
The
site
project.
plan review
No.
project.
Right, they're there to approve what the planning board agreed was an okay project and now has to.
No,
go.
I don't believe so.
Well, they've already been before the planning board.
They may have been there for sketch plan review, and many times developers in Queensbury go before the planning board 3, 4, 5 times before they get their approval. They have a whole planning department in Queensbury. The notice we received was to change the zoning only, not the specific plan. That's what we need, I need to look
Right.
into that more now. Because if you have information that planning board's already made an opinion of site plan review, which I don't know how they could have, you can't give site plan review
Without-
for an industrial site without the zoning being
Right.
changed first.
Right.
I mean, we have done that. Rose Street, we changed zoning on Rose Street for certain projects, which then went before the planning board. Right.
Okay. So,
So a resolution, they were looking, they sent you the notice looking for input. So the input that I'm hearing is that you want them to not look in favor with the change in zoning specifically tailored for the FW Web project based upon lack of notice, issue regarding water tables, has there been a full seeker? I haven't seen the seeker. The seeker should be published with the notice. And it sounds like if it's where everyone's wetlands, it may need a full seeker review, not just the short form, but the long form. So I don't know if any of that's even been done for the change in zoning.
I can't tell you that for sure, but what I can tell you is the residents did attend, and see, again, I apologize, because I'm not sure exactly what that whole process is, but they told me that they went to a meeting, and I thought they said it was of the planning board, where they did a seeker review, and they could not believe that it just flew by, that there was no questions about the wetlands, there was no question about stormwater management and the effects that it may have on, there was none of that. And that's what upset them, because they said, wow, this is a done deal. Right.
Well, I was just, when you brought it up at the beginning, I was looking at your minutes and I couldn't find this anywhere, so I don't know if they published minutes.
Right.
But, I know
I
that
can
when
give
we
you-
received the notice and then we were contacted by, Mr. Frost, we made sure that people we knew would be affected
Mhm.
did have some type of notice, even though it's not our responsibility to do that.
Right, yeah, right.
Karen, is there something that we can do, either a special session, if you decide that there's something that we would need to do as a council, prior to this
July
meeting?
10th is coming up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've asked us to review it, they did send us that, and we could pass a resolution saying that we do not look upon favor of this request to change the zoning, that we have concerns about the environment, about the water table, about the impact on the traffic in the neighborhood, and,
Our impact on our existing infrastructure.
Infrastructure,
and so there's your resolution, that we do not look upon, in favor of this, and we'd like them to.
Yeah, the town sent notice seeking input from the city of Glens Falls, and the county council resolution is that you do not look in favor of this project. You don't believe they have taken a hard look at the issues you just, and you're also questioning their seeker review process.
Yeah.
You got that in?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do we have a motion to pass that resolution? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need?
Or do we need?
We need a roll call vote. That's right.
Roll call vote, it must be unanimous. Do we have a motion for a roll call vote?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Larkspur.
Yes.
Councilman Lanning.
Yes.
Councilman Rappa.
Yes.
And Councilman Wooten.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that-
That's all I have.
So the motion and resolution from the floor passes.
Yes. Thank you. Do we have any other new business, Councilman Lapp?
No new business.
Councilwoman Goodwin? Great. I just have a few moments that I'd like to ask you to come down and, under executive session, just talk about personnel. And with no motions to pass, no resolutions to ask you to do so, Councilman Clark and Councilman Lander, can I ask you both to make a motion in a second?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then can I ask you to make the motion
So
when we're
moved.
coming out?
Second.
Thank you.
And a motion to adjourn.
And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.